Hey, it's Sarah. 2 weeks ago, I walked you through a full day in my new life. The fence, the failed faucet, the pasta, the stars. And the response I got, I wasn't ready for it. Because buried in the comments, between all the "I want to do this too" messages, there was a different kind of message. From people my age, people in their 50s and 60s. And what they were describing wasn't fear about money or structure or productivity. It was something deeper, something we don't really have language for. One woman wrote, "I cried when I cleaned out my desk. I don't even know why. I hated that job." And I read that and I thought, I know exactly why. So today I want to talk about the emotional side of this, specifically for those of us who are not young, who built entire identities around work, who spent decades becoming someone professional, and then one day stopped. The identity thing is real, and it's brutal. Let me be honest with you. I thought I was prepared for this. I had my savings, I had my freelance plan, I had a property to fix up, I had a YouTube channel. I was ready. What I was not ready for was standing in the grocery store on a Tuesday at 10 a.m. and having the cashier ask day off and not knowing what to say. Because the answer is every day is a day off now. Or none of them are. I don't know anymore. For 28 years, when someone asked, "What do you do?" I had an answer. A good answer. A confident answer. Software engineer, senior engineer, staff engineer. Now, I say I left tech and I watch people's faces do this little thing where they try to figure out if I got fired, or if I'm sick, or if I failed somehow. And I know that's their problem, not mine, but it still stings. Because here's what nobody tells you when you're building a career. You are also building a self, and when the career stops, you have to figure out who's left. Grief. Yes, grief. I want to use that word because I think it's the right one. Even if you hated your job, and there were absolutely days I hated mine, there is grief in leaving. Grief for the version of yourself who knew exactly what she was doing, who had expertise, who people called when things broke. Grief for the colleagues, the rhythm, the feeling of being needed in a specific, measurable way. Grief for the younger version of you who worked so hard to get there, who pulled the late nights, who sacrificed weekends, who earned that title. When I cleaned out my laptop, returning it to IT, wiping my personal files, I held it for a second before I put it in the box. That laptop went everywhere with me. Airports, hotels, 3 continents, 2 pandemics, and I just put it in the box. I didn't cry then. I cried 3 days later, randomly, while making coffee. That's how grief works. It waits. The loneliness nobody warned me about. In my last video, I mentioned eating dinner alone and missing having someone to talk to. But I want to go deeper on this because it's more specific than just loneliness. It's the loss of ambient belonging. At work, even on the hard days, you belong somewhere. There's a team, a Slack channel, a building, or at least a Zoom room. People who know your name, who notice if you're quiet, who send you a meme on a bad day. That disappears overnight. And for those of us in our 50s and 60s, we didn't grow up building social lives outside of work and family the way younger generations do. My social muscles, honestly, a little atrophied. Jim, my neighbor, the 6'8" who helped me fix the fence, he told me something last week. He said after he retired, he spent the first year feeling like a ghost, like he was watching his own life through a window. He said what saved him was making himself show up somewhere, anywhere, consistently. He started going to the same diner every Saturday morning, same time, same table. And over 6 months, those strangers became his people. I'm thinking a lot about that. The guilt. Oh, the guilt. There's the obvious kind guilt for spending money when you're not earning a salary. But there's a stranger kind too. Guilt toward your former self. I worked so hard to get to a $180,000 salary. My 2-year-old self would be furious at me for walking away from it. My immigrant parents and I know, many of you know this feeling. They sacrificed so much so I could have stability. And here I am, voluntarily giving it up to fix fences and learn video editing. How do you hold both things? The gratitude for what you built and the choice to walk away from it? I'm still working on that. But here's what's also true. Somewhere between the grief and the guilt and the identity confusion, something else is happening. Something quiet, almost sneaky. I'm starting to remember things I forgot I liked. Not hobbies, more like modes of being. I forgot that I like mornings, that I am, underneath all the exhausted corporate Sarah, a morning person. Someone who likes to move slowly before the world demands things. I forgot that I'm curious, like genuinely curious, not I should upskill in this area curious. But I wonder how that works curious. I forgot that I like people when I'm not depleted by performing for them all day. I'm 54 years old, and I'm meeting myself again. That's a strange, humbling, quietly beautiful thing. A note specifically for seniors. If you're in your 50s or 60s and you're watching this, maybe you're thinking about leaving, or you already have, I want to say something directly to you. The emotional weight of this transition is heavier for us. Not because we're weaker, because we've been doing this longer, because our identities are more thoroughly built around work, because our social lives are more intertwined with our professional lives. The adjustment period is real. It's not a bug. It's part of the process. You're not failing if you feel lost. You're not broken if you miss the job you swore you hated. You are a person who worked hard for a long time, and you are learning how to exist without the harness. That takes time. Be patient with yourself in a way you probably never were during your career. What I'm learning, 2 weeks in, here's what I know about the emotional side of this. You don't arrive at peace. You visit it sometimes, between the harder feelings, and you visit it more often as time goes on. The grief doesn't mean you made the wrong choice. It means you took the work seriously. It means it mattered. And somewhere on the other side of the grief, there is something waiting that I don't have a name for yet. A version of me that isn't defined by what she produces. I'm walking toward her. Drop a comment and tell me, what emotion surprised you most when you left a long career? Or if you haven't left yet, what emotion are you most afraid of? I read every single one, really. And if you want to follow this honestly, subscribe. I'll keep showing up, even on the days I'm crying over a coffee pot for no reason I can explain. Take care of yourselves.